Today from the Oakland Alameda County Coliseum, it's the Houston Oilers versus the Oakland Raiders. Today's game is brought to you by Dodge with the new 6-passenger Dodge Aries K and new Ram Tough Dodge pickups and vans. By Anheuser-Busch St. Louis, Brewers of Michelob. Put a little weekend in your week. By United Airlines. United flies more people to Hawaii than any other airline. That's what friendly skies are all about. And by new gas-saving Pennzoil. Quality in every extra mile. Ask for it. Hello, everybody. This is Charlie Jones, Lynn Dawson. And if Charles Dickens was a sports writer, he would say it is the tale of two cities, Houston and Oakland. And for the winner, it will be the best of times. For the loser, the worst of times. As Chris Farr is kicking off for the Raiders. Carl Roaches and Ronnie Coleman are set for the return. Coleman at the goal line. Ronnie's to the tip. 50, 20, and he returns it near the 25-yard in the first quarter. Oakland leading Houston 3-0. Chris Farr's 47-yard field goal was set up by Mike Davis, recovering the ball, a fumble from Earl Campbell. In reality, he simply stripped it. Play action, and he is sacked. Lester Hayes got him. The left cornerback was coming. The Raiders had 54 sacks during the regular season, third in the NFL.
You don't expect a cornerback to be coming after you very often in the National Football League, but because it's double tight end situation, it was the fact that faking that ball, it was a play-action pass. He was looking to go to his left, but you're going to see 37 Lester Hayes come into the picture. No one came in his direction, and his responsibility was out in the flat. Since no one came, he went after Stabler, made a big sack.
A loss of 9 on the injury. He will not return. They let go, and he is wrapped up. Lester Hayes got him second sack of the ball game for the Oakland Raiders. And Hayes got both sacks. So you've got a defensive cornerback blitzing.
Well, he has responsibility. If a back came out his way, he wouldn't be able to do that, but the back went the other way, so he had no responsibility on the coverage. So he just takes off after Stabler, gets him around the neck, and brings him down. A big play once again for Oakland. I'm sure that they haven't shown this. This is something new because Stabler had no idea or no inkling whatsoever that this man, a cornerback, was going to be blitzing.
Up with Dan Pastorini, who was in an automobile accident last night.
Look at all this. See Lester Hayes, all that sticking on his hand. Oh, that's a nightmare. The quarterback's trying to handle football.
Earl Campbell is not in the ballgame offensively. Stabler lots of time, and then he will be sacked third for the Oakland Raiders. And Dave Browning got it.
He pumped twice. He was looking for his tight end. Dave Jasper was running a crossing pattern going from the left side all the way over to the right. But that just took too long to establish that pattern. And you take it, that was about 5 seconds, Charlie. And if you have 5 seconds to throw, if you can't get it off in 5 seconds, somebody is well covered. You can see he's looking for Casper. Pump twice. Now he goes down to Dave Browning, number 73.
2-minute warning will now be given to both benches. We've got a timeout, and we'll be back. Oakland leads, and then it's picked up from the 27. An attempt of 37 yards, and the tie at halftime. Scramble for the football. I believe it was Lester Hayes that came up with it, or Willie Jones? Lester Hayes came up with it. Willie Jones is the man who blocked it. And time runs out.
And so did Temple. They're very short right now on that field. I'm looking for a real explosive second half. Tony Frisch coming in to kick the ball. He just punches it. It's a low kick. He didn't really get it up in the air. 37, Lester Hayes comes up with it.
The defense Campbell very well. Now, what is Houston going to do?
They're going to have to establish Earl Campbell. They're going to have to do that, whether they do it by running him or perhaps the snake coming up on first down and putting the ball in the air to loosen up those linebackers, because the linebackers are really uptight to that line of scrimmage, looking for the run all the way.
Houston, their own 37-yard line, play action on first down. Has pressure, slips the pressure. In the coverage, it's caught, 34-yard line. Lester Hayes had the coverage on Mike Renfro. 39 yards. That is Renfro's second reception of the ball game. Remember the first one? Sideline pass into the first half.
He was not looking for Renfro. He was looking the other way. Plenty of time. Good pass protection by that line. He avoids a move right here. A lot of other quarterbacks were taken off and run because there was nobody in front of him. But he drilled that ball, and Renfro came up with a big catch, something that they have needed. Now they're in excellent field position, and they can put Earl Campbell to work. There it is, Renfro, 82, wide receiver. Good coverage by Lester Hayes. A couple of yards.
Earl Campbell very slow getting up, but Earl is always very slow getting up.
Yeah, Bump says he's slow going down, too.
Intercepted in the end zone. And out to the 1-yard line, the man in the secondary for the Oakland Raiders is Lester Hayes. Listen to the crowd.
Here it is. Taylor going back to pass. He fires this ball and it ricochets. When it ricochets down there, generally there's a defensive man to make a play, and it does. Lester Hayes, 37, the man that's been making the interceptions all year, comes up with a big play, stops a scoring drive by Houston. We'll be back in a moment.
The leading interceptor in the National Football League this year. Is he ever happy? Lester Hayes. All right. You look at Lester Hayes, you were talking about during the commercial, he has more stickum on his hand and his elbow pads. I don't think you can pry a football away from him.
Well, he has a lot on, and Oakland is famous for that. I remember Fred Biletnikoff used to hate it because they'd have all that glue on their hands, and it makes it tough in gripping and throwing the football for the quarterback.
Lester is a wide receiver. Wilson has come out. Campbell is the remaining back. So Renfro, Rochen, Casper, and Barber are the receivers. 2nd and 7. Lester, he's in trouble. He is sacked. That is the 4th sack for the Oakland Raiders, and it was Mike Davis who got it.
And you take a look, they've had 4 sacks. 3 of the sacks have been by defensive backs. 2 by Lester Hayes, 1 now by Davis, the other one by Elvin Buffet.
No. Let me just make it. The other one by Dave Brown.
That's right.
Yeah. Just want to make that correction. That is as many times as this man has been sacked in one ball game this year. Boy, that's a big play. Takes it back to the 33. Lost at 12.
Elvin Buffet sacked his own man. Hey, that's a trick.
I wanted to get that. The Oilers will come out Troy. They have Billy Johnson and Mike Renfro in as wide receivers. Casper and Barber in as the tight end. Rob Carpenter is the remaining back. Pressure, and it is Mike Davis, the strong safety. 5th sack for the Raiders, and 4 of the 5 have now come from men in the secondary.
Mike Davis has had 2. Lester Hayes has had 2 quarterback sacks, and I'm sure Houston did not expect that. If they did, they didn't have anybody back there to pick up Davis, because you're going to see him coming in right now.
Normally it's a linebacker that comes on a blitz. And the halfback looks for him. If he comes, he stays in, or the blocking back. They don't necessarily look for a cornerback to come.
No, you don't. Out of bounds, whether you catch it or not, it's no good.
That pass that we talked about that he completed during the regular season was to Billy White. Hughes Johnson covered 57 yards for a score. 2nd and 10. The Raiders now will go with 4 down linemen, 5 in the secondary. Roaches and Renfro are the receivers. Campbell, the remaining back.
There's the way you throw it.
And there's the way you defend it. Lester Hayes. Excellent coverage. Perfect coverage.
What a day he's having. He's had 2 quarterback sacks, and for a cornerback, that's virtually unheard of. You don't have that in the whole season. But here you got Renfro going up top. Man-to-man coverage. 37 Lester Hayes with Renfro. Makes an excellent play right there. He turned his head around, didn't lose sight of the fact of where the receiver is. Located the football and knocked it away.
And don't forget also, he had the interception in the end zone.
He has the stickum that glue all over his head here, as well as the rest of his body.
Rob Carpenter in the backfield. It is 3rd down and 10. Flags are down. Pass is incomplete at the 45-yard line. Renfro is claiming pass interference. Lester Hayes had the coverage, but a flag was dropped back at the 30 on the far side of the field.
Well, I know that Oakland jumped. The defensive lineman jumped. I don't know where they got back or not. May not. Might have been Willie Jones. Here it is.
That is very close to pass interference. Remember on a pass interference call that the defender has an equal opportunity to the football as does the receiver. But you can't go through the man. He almost went through.
Offside, defense, the left side of the defensive line, 3rd down.
And that was Willie Jones who was the left side of the defensive line. We picked him up. 3rd down and 5. 36-yard line. Pressure again. Sack number 6, and Willie Jones got it. 6 sacks for the Oakland Raiders. That is the most that Saber has been sacked in any game this year.
They were putting the heat on. Jones got to him, but Cedric Hartman was also in there, so was Ted Hendricks. Matuzak taking an inside rush. The outside, both Hartman and Jones. Jones coming up with the sack. But there were 3 Oakland Raiders right around Kenny Saber that time.
And the station shift will be seen at its regular time. 2nd down and 10.
Tough situation for Houston because you'll take a look at those defensive linemen. Look at them. They're down. They're ready to fly. They hit one body high, and that's Kenny Saber, and they do.
And they do. That is the 7th sack for the Oakland Raiders. Listen to the crowd reaction to Ted Hendricks' sack.
What a great year he's had, Charlie. 12th year. I think he's done so many things. He has made so many things happen. He creates fumbles. He blocks kicks. He blitzes. Does an outstanding job with that. Pass coverage. Just, as they say, he can do it all.
7 sacks, 65 yards in luck. Did I miscount? I must have. They have it 3rd down.
They just changed it on the scoreboard. Charlie, I'd say this is it for Houston.
Pressure is there again. It's intercepted. Lester Hayes.
He'll score.
Lester Hayes. Touchdown. That's it. 20 yards on the interception return.
He puts that ball up there. He hangs it too long. Look at that 37. Lester Hayes is in great position to come up with the interception. And along the sidelines, there is no one to touch him. He's in for a touchdown.
Willie Jones, go ahead.
Was looking to go to Renfro, running an out route, but he had excellent position. Defensively had excellent position on Renfro. Renfro really never got him turned around. And the reason he did is because they had 18 yards to go, so he'd let him catch it in front of him all day long.
Willie Jones and Ted Hendricks were putting the pressure on Ken Stabler. the leader, and those that trail. Extra point. It's good. 27-7. Oakland leading with 5:29 left.
Defensively, Oakland has done a tremendous job on this Houston team. This Houston team that has the running of Earl Campbell, who gained almost 2,000 yards with 1,934 yards during the season. The defensive backs have done a tremendous job for Oakland. They have four sacks by the defensive backs. 2 by Davis, the safety, and 2 by that man, Lester Hayes. Not only that, but Lester Hayes came up with that big interception.
Lester Hayes with 2 interceptions and the touchdown. And the reason the miscount on the down was on that false start penalty. You cannot refuse it. It's automatic because it's called and they had the down go over. That was the reason for it.
Vernon Perry also coming up with a big interception in the end zone. Lester Hayes had some kind of game.
Oh, he really has.
Took a hit on that last play and went to the turf, and he's slow getting up.
First down at the Raiders 45. 4:07 and counting. Time remaining. Pass is complete to Renfro. Fumbles it. It is picked up by the Oakland Raiders. It is, guess who? Lester Hayes. Hayes reverses. He wants to use up the clock. No, they're going to bring it back. They blew the whistle. They said the play was dead at the 24-yard line. The Oilers will retain possession of the football. Burgess Owens is the man who made the hit.
This was a good throw by Stabler because he had to drill it in there between about 2 or 3 defensive players and over the head of Hendricks to Renfro, making a stop. And hey, that's very close, Charlie. He was up in the air.
I think that's the first call the officials have missed in this ball game.
He was. Take a look at that. He was up in the air.
He lost possession in the air. You're right.
He's got possession of it right now, so it is a catch. He is hit right there. The headgear goes in and knocks that ball loose.
And
it's up in the air.
1 minute and 54 seconds away from winning the wild card game. Mark Van Eegen, he'll pick up a yard. Houston will take a timeout to stop the clock. And this gives us time to remind you that the executive producer of NBC Sports is Don Omeyer, and our coordinating producer for football is Ted Nathanson. The telecast of today's game has been produced by George Finkel and directed by Ted Nathanson. Technical director is Wayne McDonald. Associate director Richard Klein. And associate producer Michael Hadley.
And they've done an excellent job here with the telecast today.
They certainly have. So right now, it will be on Saturday on NBC, Buffalo at San Diego. On Sunday, it will be Oakland at Cleveland. And Bum Phillips will be watching at home on television. Nice man.
Yeah, he's a great man. An outstanding coach. And Tom Flores on the right, along with Steve Ortmeyer with the Oakland Raiders. Flores quietly has done a tremendous job, I think.
He really was. Not many people remember he was your backup quarterback when you won the Super Bowl.
He wears a Super Bowl ring, and you mentioned that Kansas City beat Oakland here for the championship the year that Kansas City won it, and Flores was on that team. So he knows that a wild card team or a team that didn't win the division can go all the way.
It's a first down for the Oakland Raiders.
I asked him before the game, I said, well, are you going to give a pep talk to your players? And see that Mike Carver there expresses what they feel. But Flores says, yes, I'm going in and played with them. Tell them I have a big mortgage. And I need to pay for it.
1:13 and counting. Time remaining. Mark Van Eegen, as the Raiders will be content just to run out the clock. Back again, as I was mentioning a moment ago, but we can be more specific as far as times are concerned. On Saturday on NBC, 3:30 Eastern Time, starting, of course, with NFL 80 and host Brian Gumbel. It'll be the Buffalo Bills against the San Diego Chargers. And then at noon Eastern Time, next Sunday, the Oakland Raiders will go to Cypreville, the Cleveland Browns.
Dave Casper.
There's a good formation because you see the man way to the right back there. He is there for one purpose. If there is a fumble, he is there to either make the fumble recovery or make the tackle. It's
15 seconds and the crowd will take us to the countdown. There it is. The Oakland Raiders defeat the Houston Oilers in the AFC wildcard. The final is Oakland 27 and Houston 7. In the twilight of Oakland, they win by 20. We'll be back in a moment. Earl Campbell was held to 91 yards unofficially.
That was the ball game. The thing that Oakland had to do, they had to stop Earl Campbell and force Stabler to throw, because one thing that Oakland does very, very well, they put the heat on the passer, and they did that today not only with the defensive line, but I think the defensive backs did an outstanding job for the Oakland Raiders.
Third time these teams have met in the playoffs. The Raiders have won all three contests. The final, once again, Oakland 27, Houston 7. This is Charlie Jones and Lynn Dawson.
The Oilers were in the playoffs thanks to Earl Campbell, but it was the Raiders who said thanks when number 34 fumbled on the game's first play from scrimmage. Earl's 373 carries were an all-time NFL high, and he is usually as sure-handed as he is durable. But he didn't start out that way. The Raiders were quick to take advantage of Campbell's rare mistake, as Chris Barr kicked a 47-yard field goal to give Oakland a 3-0 lead. Quarterback Kenny Stabler, number 12, playing before the Oakland fans who had cheered him in his decade as a Raider, tried to recapture his old magic by throwing deep. A heads-up play by Burgess Owens, number 44, briefly curtailed Stabler's wizardry, but not the invocation of higher powers. Stabler regained his touch with a flip to Ronnie Coleman, number 47. The reserve halfback responded with a 23-yard gain to Oakland's 26-yard line. Earl Campbell is to the Oilers' offense what Texas is to America's oil industry. Behind a block by fullback Tim Wilson, number 45, Earl showed why he is 2 legs up on the rest of the league's running backs and head and shoulders beyond NFL defenders. Campbell carried the ball 5 straight times and scored on a 1-yard plunge to put Houston ahead 7-3 as he accumulated 62 yards in the first half. Oakland's Jim Plunkett, number 16, has returned from limbo to lead the Raiders. The Raiders elbowed their way to the 2-yard line thanks to a fine catch by Kenny King, number 33. Oakland obtained King from their favorite trading partners, Houston, in exchange for Jack Tatum. Plunkett then quickly fired to Todd Christensen. For number 46, it was the first reception in a 3-year pro career, and it gave Oakland a 10-7 lead. Never having scored a touchdown before, the reserve tight end was unsure how to dispose of the ball. Like your first love, your first touchdown is hard to part with. Kenny Stabler, combative as always, planned immediate retaliation. But he was not prepared for a tactic Oakland hadn't shown all season: blitzing safeties and cornerbacks. Lester Hayes, number 37, another in Oakland's long line of all-pro defensive backs, led the NFL with 13 interceptions this year, the second highest single-season total in league history. When number 85, Bob Chandler, runs his patterns against Hayes in practice, Chandler rarely gets as open as he did against Houston's number 33, J.C. Wilson. Although out of bounds on this catch, Chandler has performed brilliantly this year. Obtained from Buffalo after last season, he has caught 49 passes for 10 touchdowns. Chandler's feet have never been fast, but his hands have always been sure. But Chandler wasn't the only one frustrated as Plunkett tried for more. An interception by Houston's Vernon Perry limited Oakland's halftime lead to 10-7 and prevented a potential Raider runaway. To get to the Super Bowl, said Bum Phillips, you must pass through Pittsburgh. Not so in 1980. Instead, the Oilers must pass and run through Oakland. Down 3 points, the Houston offensive line was tiring. Constantly pressured, Ken Stabler squirmed free often enough to locate receivers like Mike Renfro, number 82. Neither team would score in the third quarter, and while Houston dominated the period, Mike Barber and the Oilers stumbled near the goal line. Following another drive, this time to the Oakland 11, Stabler sought out the go-ahead touchdown. Lester Hayes' interception of a Houston deflection prevented the score, and if there was a turning point to the game, this was it. The human energy emitted by Hayes and friends would power them through the game's remaining minutes. By contrast, Houston's offensive energy was sapped. They would not generate another point. The Oiler defense did manage some resistance, sacking Oakland's Jim Plunkett 3 times, this time by Elvin Bethea, number 65. The 9-yard loss was a result of a stunt when Bethea ran around Raider Art Shell, number 78, preoccupied with a Houston linebacker. Like the Raiders of seasons past, Oakland struck suddenly. Not since the retirement of Clarence Davis have the Raiders had a bona fide outside running threat the likes of number 33, Kenny King. Another trait missing from the Raiders' system in recent years is the big play. That, too, has been revived in Oakland. After one swift motion, 44 yards from Jim Plunkett to Arthur Whittington, number 22, the Raiders were on top, 17-7. The game's momentum had shifted Oakland's way, and Coach Tom Flory's defense made the 10-point lead stand up. First, the Raider front line stopped the heart and soul of the Houston offense, limiting Earl Campbell, number 34, to just 29 second-half yards. Not once all season had the Raiders utilized a cornerback blitz. On this afternoon, it was back in vogue. Lester Hayes circumvented the Houston down lineman to register 2 sacks of his own. Joining in the blitz from another angle, linebacker Ted Hendricks, number 83, made no secret of his intentions. And along with cornerback Mike Davis, smothered Stabler for another one of 7 total Raider sacks, good for 69 yards and losses. Of Hendricks' 12 pro seasons, 1980 may well be his best. Though the Raider blitz no longer surprised, it remained ever effective for the likes of Mike Davis, number 36. Shut out for the final 3 periods of play, the Oilers' chances of winning were slim and none. With this Stabler pass, Slim went home. Lester Hayes' touchdown put the Raiders' victory champagne on ice and pointed out an error in Houston's play selection. Sideline passes from your own 2-yard line are dangerous, especially when going man-to-man with the NFL's leading interceptor. The Oilers had fallen into a silver and black hole and will reappear in the fall of 1981. For the Oakland Raiders, their second season had begun with a 20-point win. For Ken Stabler, it was not a traditional happy homecoming. Post-game greetings from his former Raider teammates could not disguise the fact that Stabler's mission in Houston was unaccomplished. While Oakland travels to Cleveland for round 2 of the playoffs, Houston's Super Bowl dreams disappear.